my friend, I am excited for you that you found this game-changing video. Now, before we take a deep dive into exactly how we're going to improve at video games absurdly fast, I need to tell you a little story. It's the year 2001, and a guy named Kevin buys an Xbox console with a new game called Halo. This game turns out to be awesome, and there's a really fun multiplayer mode that everyone is playing. Kevin and his friends spend every weekend connecting their Xboxes together for LAN parties in the living room and playing against each other in multiplayer. The games were epic, and everyone was having a blast. But slowly, Kevin's friends started to get better than him at Halo. Kevin was still having a good time, but it was a lot harder to keep a smile on his face when he was constantly watching his lifeless body get teabagged from the spawn screen by his so-called friends. For some reason, he was falling behind. Fast forward 6 years. Kevin and his friends have all continued to play Halo regularly. Halo 3 multiplayer is now everyone's jam, but now, Kevin has found himself in an awkward situation. More often than not, when he jumps on, he finds his friends playing ranked modes with their new online buddies. When Kevin joins up with them, they switch over to social lobbies with a much more casual experience where they won't lose rank and they don't have such a hard time trying to carry Kevin. Due to his lack of skill, Kevin had been pushed out of the inner gaming circle and was now a second string player. Ouch. Then, one day, Kevin witnessed a Jedi ninja single-handedly annihilate the opposing team while making casual conversation with him. At the end of the game, he sent a friend request, and from that day on, everything changed. Obi-Wan Shinobi became Kevin's sensei, and after a month of playing and training together, Kevin had unlocked something different within himself, and he was learning to play in a whole different way. Fast forward another 6 months, and Kevin was now a much higher rank than all of his friends. He played with them occasionally, and he didn't hold any grudges about being benched in the past because he was a very understanding and kind-hearted dude. Now, it was really cool to witness Kevin going from a complete pushover of a teammate to someone I could rely on in highly competitive ranked games. Sadly, Kevin switched over to PlayStation a long time ago, and I haven't heard from him since. Kev, if you're watching this, you still owe me $51. Just kidding. I miss you, bro. I hope you're prospering. Now, I'm telling you this story because you, like Kevin, might believe that your skill at a video game is dependent on natural talent and the amount of time you spend playing the game. But I will be the first to stand up and call BS on the sob story you're telling yourself about your gaming abilities. Alright, now that I've insulted you, I'd like to make amends by providing you with a system to improve at your favorite game 3 times as fast as normal, similar to what I did with Kevin, but even better. Now, that is a pretty good deal for simply calling you out on your disempowering beliefs. So I'm gonna ask you for a little bit more. I would request that you body slam the subscribe button, suplex the like button, and gently tap the notification bell for more of my awesome videos. This lets me know that you are listening and entering our contract with clear eyes and a full heart. If by the end of this video, you don't feel like you've received incredible value, go ahead and unsubscribe and unlike the video to bow out. But that won't happen. So join me on this journey and learn the exact methods to take your gaming abilities to a level that you didn't think was possible. Cool, let's get started. First off, grab a pen and paper because it's about to get serious. No, I'm actually not even joking. You are going to want a notebook and a pen for the system. You don't actually need it right now, but the sooner you create this journal, the sooner you are committing to become a much better player. You might be thinking, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do homework to get better at a video game. You might also now be thinking about not watching the rest of this video, but that would be a huge mistake if you really want to improve quickly at your favorite game. I am going to drop some information here that you won't find anywhere else, and it's heavily based on expert research in the fields of mental training and peak performance. On screen now are the books that this system is based off of. I highly recommend reading these incredible books or listening to their audiobook versions. Consider this, if you're spending more than 5 hours a week playing video games for enjoyment, that means you're pretty heavily invested into this hobby. Seriously, what other hobby do you spend that much time on consistently? And what person doesn't want to excel at their hobby or craft? Yes, It might take a little more effort than just casually playing, but the payoff is going to be huge. Video games are a lot more fun when you're really good at them or you're making noticeable improvements. So how does writing anything down help you improve at video games? Well, something special happens in your brain when you physically write out words with a pen or pencil. It helps you clarify your goals, priorities, and intentions, and it greatly increases the probability of you remembering it all and committing to it. You don't have to be religious about this journal, but you should definitely be using it at the beginning of your improvement system. We're going to be doing a few things in this notebook from time to time, but the majority will happen at the beginning of our journey. The first thing we want to do is a Shinobi gameplay analysis. Reviewing your own gameplay frequently is honestly one of the best ways to improve. And if you do it the way I'm about to show you, you will see big changes taking place in your gameplay very quickly. If you have previous gameplay recorded, that's great. Otherwise, you're going to need to start recording gameplay during your next gaming session. Or if you have an in-game replay feature in your favorite game, you can use that. We need enough footage to recognize patterns and habits in our gameplay. Usually that would be about 30 minutes of gameplay or 10 minutes of pure action clips that include mistakes. If you need to figure out how to record gameplay, just Google how to record gameplay on whatever device you play on. If you're desperate, you could even prop your cell phone up to record your screen. Now here is the incredibly effective tactic that I've been using for improving my own game skill and helping others improve theirs too. When you are watching your gameplay videos, put them into slow motion by at least 50% speed or slower. This allows you to take in at least twice as much information as normal about what's happening on screen. Then you can pinpoint your mistakes and see what actually caused a failure event or how you could improve during moments of action. Skip through the video to sections that you can learn from and watch them over again in slow motion as many times as needed in order to get full clarity of what happened and how you could have played differently. If you don't have a speed adjuster on the video player, just tap pause every couple of seconds during moments of combat and take in all of the information. While you are doing this, you want to take notes in your journal in a very specific way. With each failure that you review, jot down quick notes of what mistakes caused the failure. There could be multiple reasons, so write down each mistake that you think led to the overall failure, but leave space between the notes to write additional information later. Now, each time you write a mistake down, write the solution on the line below it, or whatever would fix the issue, but do it in the present tense as if you are describing what you always do instead. Now, after you have written the solution, look at the gameplay screen and visualize yourself doing the right thing. Then close your eyes and visualize it again. Now you might be saying, I did not sign up for this hippie garbage. I urge you to keep an open mind and stick with me here because this video gets better the longer you watch and the methods become easier to implement. So here are the examples of possible journal entries. 5 minutes, 40 seconds. I died because I pushed alone into enemy territory and got outnumbered. So then I write, I always wait for my teammates when pushing into dangerous areas. I look at the gameplay screen and visualize myself turning around and checking out my teammates' positions. Now I do it again with my eyes closed. 6 minutes, 22 seconds. I died because I was out of cover during a fight. So below that, I write, I always use cover during my fights. 6 minutes, 22 seconds again. I also died because I missed 2 of my shots. Now I write, I focus in and land my shots on enemies. Now I visualize myself using the nearby scenery as cover while peeking out and landing perfect shots on the enemy. Then I visualize it again with my eyes closed. Spend about 30 minutes reviewing gameplay and taking these types of notes. If you keep seeing the same mistake, write it down every time you see it. That's important for the next step in the system. There is a lot of power in this technique. You are reliving common scenarios, but with much more information and the ability to see new opportunities. You're seeing your own small mistakes and how they can have a ripple effect that leads to a larger failure. You are then imprinting the solution to these mistakes in your mind and creating a self-image that has the confidence to handle these situations in the future. All right, awesome. If you repeat this process alone every few days, you would make huge gains. But to really take things to another level quicker, we are now going to nail down some goals based on the gameplay notes we just took. Write down the 3 most important skills that you think you need to grow to get better at the game. Go ahead and review your notes and look for recurring mistakes or common themes. These lacking skills could be things like game sense, aim, use of cover, movement, teamwork, taking bad fights, bad timing, poor inventory choices, etc. We are only going to focus on 3 skills to improve at a time. Just a note, almost everyone who plays shooters will write down aiming as their primary issue, which might be true, but usually there are deeper issues at play that should be worked on first. For instance, if you took a fight out in the open without your team against 2 enemies and missed a few shots and died, the biggest issue there is not your aim. The main problem is that you were without cover and entering the fight outnumbered. Even if you had perfect aim, you wouldn't have won. This is where slow motion replays really help because you have so much more time to observe your decision making before the failure event occurs. So make sure you're paying close attention to mistakes aside from just your aim. If you were to stop the process right now, you'd already have become a better player purely by becoming hyper aware of the skills you need to work on. Now, I know some of you might be rolling your eyes at all this journaling crap, but guess what? You aren't going to make huge improvements without taking a different approach. And here comes the real magic to journaling. Take the 3 things that you need to improve on and create a little section in your notebook for each one. Each section should have 3 subsections. Subsection A is what you need to improve on, worded in a present tense, as if you are currently getting better. Subsection B is why you want to improve at the skill and why it will help. Subsection C is how you are going to improve at that skill using drills or repetition. For example, if I want to improve my shotgun aim in close range fights in Fortnite, I'll write it out like this. I am improving my shotgun aim in close range fights. Why? It is essential to be accurate with a shotgun at close range because if you miss a single shot, you could be eliminated. The more accurate I am at close range with a shotgun, the quicker my fights will end and the less damage I will take, making my chances of winning the game much better. How am I going to improve? I will improve my close range shotgun aim by using the 1v1 close range creative map in Fortnite against a bot or opponent for a minimum of 10 minutes before playing. Here's another example for Halo Infinite if I wanted to improve my use of cover whenever I'm moving through the map and fighting enemies. I am getting better at always using cover when moving around the map and fighting. Why am I doing this? If I am nearby cover at all times, then I'll always have the option of moving into cover to avoid enemy fire and survive longer. The more cover I use in my fights, the more fights I will win. How am I going to do this? I'm going to use a drill in training mode where I fight 4 enemy bots while moving from cover to cover and taking peek shots to kill them. I will do this for 10 minutes before playing matchmaking. Probably the most important part of your goal outline is determining how you are going to achieve the improvement in each skill. You need to come up with a training program that will drill the habit into your own gameplay and eventually become subconscious, which requires a lot of repetition. I recommend watching my Halo training drill videos to get inspiration for creating your own training programs. I'll link them above and at the end of the video. I cannot express how important it is to create your own training programs that focus on a particular skill within the game. Almost every game has some sort of practice mode or a way to fight against bot opponents. If your game doesn't, I'm sure you can get creative to come up with a way to train a single skill while playing the game, whether that's against a friend in a private lobby or in the story mode. When you think about how long it takes to learn a skill from just playing the game versus running through a drill that focuses on that particular skill, you'll realize just how quickly you can improve individual skills. There isn't a single professional athlete that just plays full scrimmages every day to get better. Nope. Instead, they spend most of their practice time training specific skills. And that, my friends, is very good news for you because almost every gamer I know does the exact opposite, which means you will have no problem surpassing them. This is the exact way that I helped Kevin improve his Halo gameplay so quickly and outclass his friends practically overnight. And awesome. We are now totally aware of what skills we need to improve on, and we have a plan on how we will train each of them. We are reviewing our gameplay consistently and feeding our subconscious the resources it needs in order to correct our mistakes. We're keeping our journal in line of sight from our playing position, and we check it a few times a week to stay on the grind. But now we are bringing in a different type of fuel to throw on the fire. Most of us don't have the time to practice, play, review footage, and journal in our whittled diaries for hours at a time. We have limited precious gaming hours per day, and we really want to play. So we need a way to supplement our training and skill improvement during non-gaming hours. And the best way to do that is by watching the pros play and absorbing their techniques. But we aren't just going to go to Twitch and mindlessly watch a live stream. Instead, we are again going to implement the Shinobi analysis system to maximize our learning. The best way to do that is by going to YouTube and searching for pro gameplay of your game, or a content creator who's very skilled at the game. You want to find someone who plays the game at a fast pace or with an aggressive playstyle. You can Google search for the best players at your game and check to see if they upload to YouTube. Once you find the gameplay of an unstoppable force, you want to start analyzing it in terms of the 3 skills that you're trying to improve. Put the video into slow motion during moments of action and look at the gameplay through the different lenses of what you are trying to learn. How are they doing what you are trying to improve at? If you see something that impresses you and you want to learn it, write a note about it in your journal. Then close your eyes and replay it in your mind as if you are performing the action yourself. If you do this whenever you have downtime, instead of scrolling social media or watching TV, I promise you will start to learn how to play the game better. All right, that brings us to our last method of growing our gaming skill at an absurdly fast rate. Now that we've done deep analysis of our gameplay and we're working on our skills, we're gonna jump back into the game and start playing. But while we're playing, we want to ensure that we have a growth mindset. And the best way to do that is through accountability. This means you need to take 100% responsibility for every death, mistake, or failure that you experience while playing, even the ones that you initially justify as not being your fault. Reflect on the event and think about how you could do better next time. If you're in the spawn screen, close your eyes and visualize yourself doing the correct thing instead. Now repeat to yourself that next time you will do X, Y, and Z instead. Keep practicing your visualization and subconscious programming. Now honestly, this is probably going to be the hardest thing to do for many gamers. Sadly, most people resort to complaining or blaming when things go wrong. The enemy beats you because they were using cheap tactics, or your teammates are terrible, or you might even proclaim that they are cheating. But I guarantee that 90% of these scenarios, you had the ability to overcome the odds. And if you don't take the time to reflect on the failure and look for the solution, then you are doing yourself a major disservice. Once you adopt this mentality, you will immediately begin to feel like a different player. It honestly makes the game so much more enjoyable because now you are getting better with every failure and it starts to feel like you have full control of the game. Let's think about this. Complaining literally accomplishes nothing, and it drops the energy levels of yourself and your teammates. Imagine if you replaced all of these toxic moments with a few seconds of reflection and an effort to learn something from your failure. That's a lot of learning. Here's a first-person shooter example. You come around a corner and you think an area is clear. You move through it and suddenly you get shot in the back from a player camping behind a box. The majority of players will throw their hands into the air and yell some useless nonsense about the enemy being a coward, but not you. You take a moment to reflect on what just happened while sitting in the spawn screen. This death was your fault. You had control over the outcome. You realized that you could have checked the area better or moved through it in a more elusive way so that if you were caught off guard by an enemy, they would have a very difficult time hitting you. Now you close your eyes and you visualize doing this while repeating to yourself, next time I will be sliding through that area and checking behind cover points. And I'll bet you do exactly that next time you come upon it. Now you've just learned a lesson that would typically take most gamers 100 rage-filled outbursts to even begin thinking about solutions to that problem. Dang, something in you is changing. This is the biggest mindset difference between good players and great players. Great players are always learning, and they're always in full control of the outcome of the situation. I sincerely hope that this video is going to put you on a path for exponential growth. If you're excited about your journey, give this video a thumbs up. And if you've made it this far through the video, then I'm pretty confident that you've subscribed to the channel, right? Thank you for your support. Here is another video you can use to get better at the game. Shinobi out.